sorry, this was supposed to be a typo error. So remote work opportunity, basically. The rise of remote and hybrid jobs, fully remote jobs, positioning for remote jobs, finding remote jobs. So now that we know, the hot skills, and everyone, I'm sure everyone is, a few questions must have been answered in your head. Let's talk about how and where you can work. One big trend that has changed the game is remote work, and that happened after pandemic. When we founded Mogedi, we didn't have, we just partnered with someone, we shared office space with someone in Lagos. We never spent any day there. All our developers were spread across. We had developers from India, from Nepal, from northern Nigeria, North Central, Jos. And we had developers from Lagos. I lived in Enugu at that time. And so there was no way basically to bring everyone under one roof. It was convenient, easier to do it that way. It was because as a company, it helped us to access good talent anywhere without barriers. So a lot of companies are looking in that direction now. A lot of companies are really doing that now. So it makes it's the new opportunity that you have. And also, remote work isn't just a buzzword anymore in Nigeria. Remote tech jobs increased by roughly about 40% in Lagos recently. So after pandemic, 40% of the companies now in tech basically hire remotely. And in fact, studies show remote job listings in Nigeria grew 2 times in the last 2 years. So between 2022 to 2024, remote job listings have grown by 2 times. So that's a big leap. There's also the one called hybrid models, hybrid jobs, where that's basically what I do. I go into the office twice a week and then work from home the other 3 days. So that's common because a lot of companies don't want people to disconnect from the company. In as much as they want you to work from home, they also want you to come in once in a while to have a chat with friends, build relationship around the company, understand the company culture, check in with just basically that kind of stuff. I think that it is, that's what it is actually. So this basically means that you're not limited to companies in your city, or even in your country, in Nigeria. So you can live in Abuja or Enugu and work for a company in Lagos or even in London or San Francisco, New York, without relocating. I know a couple of people who got jobs from Nigeria, who got jobs outside Nigeria. But in now, it still depends on positioning. Most of the people I know that successfully managed to pull that through were people that work with Andela, because Andela gave them that international exposure, and it made it easy. I have a friend who worked with the company in America, then another one in Canada, another one worked with a company in Dubai before he eventually relocated. So all of these possibilities are there. It's now what works for you that you go for. So like I mentioned, Andela, for instance, made its name connecting African developers with US companies. There are also platforms like Remote Africa and Touring, where firms specifically seek tech talents in countries like Nigeria. Because at the moment we have Nigeria, we have India. Well, I don't know about Nepal anymore, but India is big in tech. Nigeria, we have great developers from Nigeria, at least mid-range developers and junior level. We have loads of it. So, so some companies, we're beginning to make tractions around the world. People are seeking out for Nigerian developers as well. So you can also venture into freelancing with Upwork, Fiverr, and a couple of other ones. I've forgotten the name, but if I do, I will just mention it. There are a couple of opportunities like that. There are ways to go around it. Might not be able to talk about them now, but just know those platforms exist that you can leverage on. You can also use social media. Um, you can also use Twitter to get more information on how to go around it. I've seen a lot of people who are doing great stuff on Upwork from Nigeria, and they earn good money. People that earn up to $3,000 from by using Upwork. So there's also positioning for remote jobs. So you need to be properly positioned. Like I mentioned, some people who work with Andela gave them that that opportunity for them to it gave them the platform basically. So you need to be well positioned for it to work for you. It is quite crucial. And to land a remote job, you need to show you are remote ready. So a lot of people need to understand you have to be remote ready, and how you'll be remote ready is that communication is very vital. You're not meeting with people physically, so you need to up your communication skills. By communicating, I mean, in Nigeria, we have a communication problem naturally. What I mean by communication is you have, in the morning, you're to resume by 9 a.m. You learn to be a bit accountable. 9 a.m. So these are the tasks you send your manager the task. So I'm working on the navigation footer for this website. When I'm done with that, is it okay to catch up for anything just to have an overview of what you've done to see if it's okay? Then after that, we can take in more workload. That proactive communication is what we do not have in Nigeria. And I understand cultural complexity plays a lot of role in that as well. So it's something that you need to learn. I learned it here when I thought I could communicate. I was a good communicator in Nigeria, but when I moved in here, I struggled a bit had to learn to communicate even much more in detail and precision. That's what it is. In Nigeria, you can use buzzwords. You can just tell somebody, I work on something, or that website, I'm working on it. What are you doing on the website? I'm doing some stuff. You just use grammar, that kind of stuff. So that's how we talk. But when you're now moving to work with people from different nationalities, different culture, it is different. Communicating with people, with British people, is different. Communicating with Americans is different. Communicating with Canadians is different. Communicating with French people is different. Communicating with Kenyans is different. So you need to learn how to communicate. So you can communicate with Nigerians, but can you communicate with people who do not have the same cultural affiliation with you? It's not about accent or English, or it's just how to know how to communicate. That's basically. So it's something we need to learn. You need to be prepared for, and then that communication has to start with your CV. A lot of times we are not as detailed on our CV. So your CV is the first point of call to show to someone that you can communicate. So being able to communicate your skills properly is effective communication. Being able to communicate your hard skills, your soft skills, your experience, tell your story is essential. That's the first thing. I would say employers would look at it and say, oh, this guy is great. And before I go into other things, it is important. I mean, don't take your CV is, usually most of us are fed, we're Christians and we pray a lot. Awesome. But your CV goes before you. No one has seen you yet. If your CV is horrible, the rest assured you're wasting your time. But if you've been able to communicate all you've done, so what I mean there, I'm talking about that communication aspect. Find a way, fine-tune your CV, communicate. Let your CV be a storyteller. Like, let it be that your potential employer will look at your CV and the person will say, oh, a team book, and this is what he's good at. This is what the keywords can separate you around. This is what he does. This is who he is. This is what he has achieved. In 5 years, he has built this. He has built that. He has leveraged on these skills. He has leveraged on this. basically he communicates properly. He teaches people. You can just basically summarize your career experience in a way that someone will look at it and say and decide to give you a call. So that is your CV is the first place to start, basically. And then on your CV, you need to also show that you are familiar with using Zoom, Slack, and you can collaborate across time zones, because that's also a problem. You need to put that if you are hunting for remote jobs. And if you have experience with remote jobs, you may also need to emphasize it on your CV. And then the next preparation, so we've talked about communication. The next preparation will be technical setup. Ensure you have a reliable setup, a good laptop, stable internet, backup power. As Nigerians, NEPA no go for your hand. But you need to, sort of in a subtle way. A lot of them some of your potential international employers may have ideas around this thing, because they talk about it. Oh, well, I have a great engineer in Nigeria that never always had lights. The internet have always been bad. So while you are talking with your potential employer, you can sort of maybe throw in there's a way you subtly bring in these conversations that if they are not aware of it, you can leave the conversation. But if they are aware of it, they will give you an idea. Then you can now tell them, oh, say you have proper backup, you have solar, you have wind, whatever you want to tell the person that you have as backup for electricity. And you are using maybe fiber optic, your internet is running at 60 megabytes per second, all that kind of stories, because that will reinforce confidence that you're ready for the job. So NEPA shouldn't stop you from committing your code, and then NEPA should not stop you from taking those courses or doing whatever you need to get out of, to become whatever you want to do. And then, so we've talked about communication, we've talked about technical setup. Now, overlap hours and flexibility. So if you might be working in a company that is a few hours ahead of you or behind you. Some of it might fall. You might work, your closing hour might be the midnight of Nigeria. So the flexibility is around. So this will require time adjustment. If you have an interview, you might need to bring in all of these kind of conversations so that the employer will know how you are potentially going to navigate all of these hurdles. To be honest, it's a problem. You might not realize it's a problem now until you're faced with it, because your sleep pattern will change, your routine will change. If you have other commitments outside job, and of course, you want to have a life outside your job. So you need they see it as a problem. I'm talking from the perspective of what the employers will see. They see it as a potential problem. They don't want to assume, but you need to tell them so that they won't tell them what you would do. Don't just expect them to know what you think you will do with time flexibility. So, and then if you have any remote job experience, showcase it. If you've worked with international teams or contributed to open source project with global contributors, mention that. It shows you can work independently and in diverse teams. So encourage. I would encourage everyone, if you're a software developer, look out for open source project you can commit, you can start, you can contribute to. Some of your pull requests may not have a commit, but one thing that it will do for you is that you'll be recognized, you'll be noticed. People will start taking you seriously around the tech sector. You will learn to read other people's code. You will learn to optimize your code. People will look at your code with a big lens and give you feedback. So that's, in the end, becomes a win for you. So always look out for those kind of projects. Most of them are not paid. Some of them are paid. Even if they don't pay you, that project might go into something bigger tomorrow that will need you. Or someone within that team might need you tomorrow because already you've done your interview. It's not about, every interview is not about going through, receiving a call from a recruiter and go submitting your CV. All those contributions like you do on open source on the internet, that might be your interview. And finding the remote roles. Basically, you can use some job search, maybe job boards like LinkedIn, Remote OK, and a couple of other ones that are in Nigeria or outside. There's Indeed as well. So for every country have their own job board. This is a job in the UK. 1 second, let me see job board. There's, I would try to remember the name, but we just look for the job boards that are prominent in the countries you are targeting and shoot the shots. You can never tell. Just keep applying. I spoke with a doctor who got a job from Nigeria. She said she applied to 500 jobs and had 4 interviews. So if you've done 10 applications, if you think you've done enough, now God is not by your side, you're joking. Even people here who are living here have done more than 100, 200 to get a job. How much more someone outside? So be relentless. Just keep optimizing, applying. Just keep applying. You can never tell where the next breakthrough will come from.